Welcome back to Josh and Kristie, Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. Put on those dancing shoes because we've got some dancing-themed Reddit drama for you today. Let's jump into the first one.
Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to quit competitive ballroom dancing because of her relationship with her dance partner?
I feel like if you're going to date a professional dancer, you got to go into that relationship with a certain mindset because you got to be accepting of the fact that they are very close to each other physically.
My 28 male, girlfriend 25 female, is into competitive ballroom dancing. If you're familiar with competitive ballroom dancing, it's not just graceful waltzing around the ballroom. It's a lot of lifts, lots of close proximity, hands pressed against the body quite intentionally, and perceived chemistry counts for a lot. My girlfriend invited me to one of her performances. Her dance partner is more attractive than me in every way.
Of course he is. He's a professional dancer.
He's at least 4 inches taller than me and in great shape.
Again, professional dancer.
I didn't think I'd be so bothered by their performance, but I really was. My girlfriend was wearing this thin white dress that left little to the imagination, and her partner had a skin-tight black bodysuit on. There was a moment at the end where they were both leaning in and he was holding her waist, etc., and the audience was applauding. It just seems incredibly sensual to me.
Sorry. OP is 28. Have they never seen dancing before?
Right? Like, I feel like in this day and age, with Dancing with the Stars being as popular as it has been over the last, 20 years.
Or figure skating at the Olympics.
Yeah, you should know what competitive ballroom dancing looks like and entails and not be surprised by this.
No, I think there's a lot of publicly available shows that OP could have watched.
When I spoke to him after, he seemed very casual with how he touched my girlfriend. A hand on her shoulder when she was making a joke, etc. I confronted my girlfriend about it recently, and she says it's just part of the act and that I have nothing to worry about because she loves me. I consulted with a few of my friends, and they said they would be freaking out over it also. I've been reading about ballroom dancing, and a lot of people believe dancing, especially ballroom, is more intimate than sex. Am I the asshole for wanting her to quit?
Where was he reading about ballroom dancing at?
I don't know, because, they put ballroom dancing on TV, right? They don't put sex on TV. I don't think it is more intimate.
Was he, reading, a couple's help forum or something where they're like, hey, yeah, if you want to reignite that spark with your partner, try ballroom dancing. That's maybe when they would say it's more intimate than sex. I feel like it can also just be two people that are good at dancing.
And this is what they do. They're competing and trying to win a competition.
Does her dancing partner have a romantic partner?
I don't know. We never learned that.
Because I don't know. I mean, some dancing couples obviously are together. Some of them, it's just, this is my hobby. This is my job. It's not romantic for them to be doing all that.
Strictly professional. They just need a partner to dance with.
Right. I feel like OP's being a little overly sensitive and possessive here.
And I do kind of get being a little bit taken aback by how casually the other guy is touching her. But they're dancing together probably multiple times a week for hours. They have a very close... They're very comfortable with each other's bodies just because they're dancing with each other. To him, putting a hand on a shoulder is probably nothing. This is not romantic. This is just, hey, we're friends and we are comfortable with each other.
Also, they're still at the event. Do you think it's part of the act of the closeness they have to show?
Maybe, yeah. Top comment. You're the asshole. You're wanting her to quit something she enjoys doing over your own insecurities. If you truly trust her, then why would you want her to quit? And if you don't trust her, instead of asking her to quit, you should be having a whole separate conversation about lack of trust in your relationship.
Do we know how long they've been dating? Because it sounds like they haven't been dating for very long.
No, we do not actually find out how long they've been dating.
Okay, because I feel like I can very confidently guess that this is a new relationship. Because he said she invited me to one of her competitions he's never seen her dance before.
That's a good point.
So it sounds like this is an early stage relationship, and maybe OP is discovering that he is not the guy that is capable of dating a professional dancer or a hobbyist dancer. What level dancing is she?
Competitive dancing. So I think that money is involved, but I don't know if it's her full-time job.
Either way, competitive dancer. She's not going to give this up. She's been dancing for a lot longer than she's been dating you, I assume.
Another comment, you're the asshole. She has worked for a long time to be a good dancer. If you ask her to choose, she'll probably pick her dancing. If she wanted to date her dance partner, she'd be dating him. The fact that she isn't means that she's not interested in him, but rather she's interested in you. Get over yourself and your jealousy. Let her continue her passions. Someone else in the comments asks, info, how much contact does she have with him outside of practice and competition? I want to say you're the asshole, but if she's spending extra time with him and it's taking away from her time with you, then nah. OP replied, they don't meet outside of practice and competition, but my girlfriend and her partner regularly place and make a decent income from it overall. They frequent both small and large competitions and train the same for both types. So they practice for at least an hour per day every other day. In that sense, it was subtracting from our time.
It almost sounds to me like they're not practicing as much as I expected them to be.
Me too. I was thinking like this is probably like at least 2 hours every day, like 5 days a week, you know?
That's what I was going to guess too. 2 to 3 hours, 5 days a week.
And they're doing 1 hour every other day, so 3 or 4 hours a week. That doesn't seem like enough to be winning ballroom competitions, but apparently they win quite a bit and are making a good income off of it, so I don't know.
And they don't meet up outside of practice, though? I think you're way overreacting here, OP.
Wow, just wow. You want her to quit competitive dancing, which takes a lot of practice, talent, and skill, just so you don't have to deal with your insecurities? You're the asshole. Someone replied, exactly this. He's lazy with his own emotions, and he's making it her problem because he'd rather not deal with it. Yeah, man, just change your whole life around because Buddy here is too much of a coward to deal with his feelings.
Yeah, if he's better looking than you, OP, go do some crunches. Don't make it her problem.
You're the asshole. If you ask her to quit dancing, there are 2 outcomes. 1, she will continue dancing and dump your ass. Or 2, she will quit dancing, start resenting you, and dump your ass. You need to trust her and work on your insecurities.
It's not even like this is a hobby for her. She's making an income off of this. How much of her income is from dancing? If she gives up dancing, can she still afford rent? It sounds like this is a huge ask that OP is considering, and I don't think it's something that a boyfriend ever has the authority to bring up, really. And a fiance or a husband only in very specific situations.
Yeah, and I think this is not something that OP can just overcome. Like, his insecurities are going to need at least therapy to get through. If he just tries to overcome it by himself and be like okay with his girlfriend dancing with this very attractive man, he's not going to be okay with it. And I think we're just finding out that OP is not the kind of person that can date a professional dancer.
I mean, yeah, it does sound like OP needs to change just a fundamental aspect about their mindset here, because asking her to change around her life to suit your insecurities is not the answer.
Am I the asshole for telling my cousin he can't do an interpretive dance at my dad's funeral?
What do I even say to that? Don't do an interpretive dance at your uncle's funeral. That seems wild.
I get this might be a no-brainer to some, but hear me out. My dad passed a couple days ago. It was a long time coming. I'm handling the funeral arrangements as I was named executor of his estate. I included my aunts and uncles in the planning process out of respect. While we were discussing, my aunt said my cousin, who is diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, wants to perform an interpretive dance at the church in front of the casket to bid my father farewell.
Whatever happened to just letting him be a pallbearer? Wasn't that what you're supposed to do when your older generation close family member passes away? You can be a pallbearer, you can give a little speech. It's not... I've never been to a funeral where there was an opening for dance.
I said no, absolutely not. For one, this is all happening in a church. The priest would have a stroke. Next, my cousin is not a good dancer. It's his hobby, and I'm happy he found something he loves, but I don't feel my dad's funeral is the right venue to showcase his moves to Candle in the Wind.
Of course it's Candle in the Wind.
I mean, he might just be assuming. We don't actually know what the song is, but...
I mean, that is fair. OP's brain might have just went to the exact same song my brain went to.
My aunt is having a fit, and my cousin is also extremely upset and has accused me of not letting him say goodbye to my dad in his own way. I told him that he's more than welcome to have a dance at the grave whenever he wants, but the funeral isn't that time. Another cousin told me he was planning to record it for a YouTube video, which is a hard no.
Bruh, no, don't do that.
I don't think it's respectful at all, and I know my dad would have hated the thing turned into a spectacle. Am I the asshole?
You're not the asshole, OP. It's your dad. You are just obviously one of the closest people to this person in their entire life. I kind of feel like this is a situation where OP would have been justified in crying to get out of it.
Yeah, like throw a little bit of a tantrum and be like, I can't believe you're putting this on me when my dad just died.
Like, I don't even think OP would have to act too hard. Why are they putting this on them when their dad just passed away? I get that it sounds like this is, it was expected. So OP isn't in shock or anything. But still, this is a time for everybody to say goodbye to OP's dad. It's not a time to make yourself the star and record a YouTube video.
Top comment, NTA, of course. This may be the best title of an Am I the Asshole post we'll see all year. OP replied, I'm glad it can bring some amusement. I can hardly believe it myself. It feels like I've taken crazy pills when I say it out loud. I should have recorded my wife's face when I told her.
I can't picture that going well. I feel like there's going to be some aunt or uncle at the funeral who is just going to be so offended by it. There's always that older relative that is offended by some aspect of the funeral.
Another comment, NTA, a cousin did exactly this at our great-grandmother's funeral.
Oh my God, there's more than one?
Right, you think this would be like a unique experience, but no, nobody ever has a unique experience in this world.
No, I guess not. Was it Elsa the Candle in the Wind?
She doesn't say, but the comment continues. It was the most awkward fucking thing I've ever witnessed. I looked towards my siblings and my brother had his hand over his mouth trying not to laugh. I like to think that my great-grandmother would have liked that, but all of her kids looked sincerely appalled and she pushed right on through with that literal song and dance. I will never forget that shit for the rest of my life. 'Cause
I have never been to a funeral where one of the older relatives doesn't loudly whisper to their son or daughter sitting next to them about why would they wear that to their own father's funeral or something like that. And I can't imagine what they would be whispering if there was interpretive dance. We all have an Aunt Agnes or something like that, don't we? Just has opinions and no filter.
It really is not a unique experience, though. Oh my God, memory unlocked. When I was in medical school, we held a memorial service to honor the people who donated their bodies to science, i.e. cadavers for anatomy lab. About 10 bodies per year, I think. It was attended by medical students, faculty, and family of those who donated their body. It's a really nice service with a reception afterwards. One of the med students did an interpretive dance and made the audience stand up and join in.
Oh, no, it was one of the med students that did it? I was worried it was going to be one of the med students, but I was hoping it was going to be a family member. When are you allowed to tackle a med student?
I don't know, but they continue. And people did join in, mostly the families out of etiquette, I think. The interpretive dance contained elements about opening up the metal tanks the bodies were kept in and dissecting them. I cannot imagine what was going through those families' minds while doing this dance. I'm not sure how this got past admin, lol. It was so cringe and I think borderline inappropriate. I think more than borderline inappropriate.
I think so. Sorry. Stick to Candle in the Wind, guys. You just do a little sway.
But looking back, it is hilarious that something like this actually happened. Hilarious to you? I don't think if my family member donated their body to science and they did an interpretive dance about it, I would not find that hilarious. Be a little respectful, please.
I guess there is a time limit on when things become funny. Or you can start making jokes about a traumatic situation. I don't know what the time limit is on this, though.
Okay, but back to OP and his cousin that wants to do the interpretive dance at his dad's funeral. Someone else commented, NTA, oh my God, does decorum at funerals no longer exist? Interpretive dance tape for YouTube likes? WTF. I'm so very sorry you're having to deal with this on top of dealing with your loss.
I think the part where it's being taped for YouTube is the part that just solidifies it as not the asshole here.
And at the actual funeral itself, I could get maybe at one of the viewings or maybe at the dinner, luncheon thing after the funeral. But at the funeral itself in the church, I'm not sure I'd be okay with any of those options. But I feel like in the church is the worst place to try and pull this off.
See, Out of those three, I would say in the church during the service is the most appropriate time for it. As long as it's a tasteful dance. I don't think this is going to be tasteful. But that is generally when you do, like, the speech to say goodbye to the deceased, or, you know, the performance, the poetry reading. It falls into that category in my mind.
See, I feel like this is more like at the luncheon where anybody can get up and say a few words about the person that has passed. You know, anyone can get up and do an interpretive dance at this point.
I mean, yeah, there is that period where anyone can get up. Sometimes they have that in the actual ceremony, but they usually do have it at the luncheon after as well. I feel like in the luncheon after, there's less rules about anybody standing up and pushing you off the stage.
Meaning they're more likely to get punched for their disrespectful dancing?
Yes.
Maybe. NTA, make sure you alert church officials and other family that agrees with you and have a plan to cut off or escort this cousin out.
God, I hope that it doesn't get to that level. I hope that it just ends with a no.
I don't know. Some people are really pushy.
Oh, Pete, you really should have cried. There's very few situations in life where you're completely justified in crying to get your way. And I think the funeral of a parent is one situation where you're absolutely allowed to cry to get your way. To a certain extent.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, it really helps us out, and it lets us know to keep making fun content like this for you.
Am I the asshole for dancing half naked in my living room, leading to my boyfriend and his family seeing me?
I mean, I want to say that you're completely justified and allowed to dance in your living room in whatever condition that you want. It sounds like maybe you should have closed the blinds or something.
This is so embarrassing, but I can't take it anymore. I have to know if I'm in the wrong here. I need to apologize if so. I, 21 female, was told by my boyfriend, Nate, 26 male, that I'd get the house to myself for the weekend. He said he had to go visit his parents to take care of a property-related issue. I was pretty excited to have the house to myself because I've been living with Nate since I was 19, and I've missed living alone, though Nate is the love of my life and in no way a trouble to live with. I had this tradition of spending a lot of my weekends baking while in my lingerie. I don't know, it makes me feel pretty. Yes, I know it's stupid, but it just makes me stupid happy. With music and dancing. Super embarrassing to admit, but I also do silly things like pretending I'm a Victoria's model or a singer, and I sing along, loudly.
You do you, girl. Do what makes you happy. I personally might be a little worried about burns in areas that don't normally get burned.
Well, yeah, baking while dancing around half naked.
But it sounds like OP's having fun, so yeah, go for it.
I mention this because this means the house is usually a mess. My dresses are all over and the music is super loud, which is obviously not okay. I hadn't done that in a long time because Nate hates loud music, and he's not a fan of my cupcakes. So I decided to do it this weekend. So it's Sunday, and I put on What a Feeling by One Direction, and it's super loud. I'm only wearing lingerie, the Victoria's kind, so lacy AF, which I regret so much looking back. Ugh. My boyfriend uses his key to open the door, and I didn't hear him come in because, like I said, it's loud in the house, and I'm also in the kitchen/living room area. Apparently, he wanted to surprise me. Nate brought his mom, dad, and his sister's 2 kids. Only like 10 male, I think. They come in, and there I am, frozen in a dance pose like an idiot.
Nate, what was this surprise?
I quickly ran to our room yelling, "Sorry, wasn't expecting anyone," and was putting on clothes when Nate came in. He was so angry. He said I was acting like a child and that I embarrassed him. His parents wanted Nate to drop them back ASAP, refusing to stay, and his mom called me a lot of names and said the kids have seen everything, and that makes me feel guilty AF.
Nate does not sound like a very fun person. He doesn't like loud music. He doesn't like dancing. He doesn't like cupcakes. And he's just, for some reason, decided to surprise you with his parents and family. It's never a fun surprise for your in-laws to just turn up. I like my in-laws. I still don't think it would be a fun surprise if you just turned up with them one day. When I'm like, I'm going to be lounging around the house in my gym shorts and looking like a hobo.
Right? Like, give a little warning.
I just want to look a little presentable for when they turn up.
Here's why I'm losing sleep over this. On one hand, I didn't know they would come. I locked the door too, so I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I planned on cleaning up my mess before Nate came home too. Also, Nate and his mom insulted me a lot.
Nate and his mom insulted you a lot, not just his mom?
That's what she says.
Oh, great.
Well, he did call her childish.
Yeah, that's not a great thing to call your partner. Especially when you're that much older than her, Nate.
Yeah, 21 and 26, and they've been dating and living together for like 2 years. That's a pretty big age gap at that age.
It is, and I wasn't going to say anything until he starts calling her childish, so he's aware of the age gap.
But when you look at it from their perspective, I was behaving like an immature person. The house was a mess, I looked a mess, there were baking supplies scattered. Nate just wanted to surprise me and do something nice. Nate is still not completely talking to me. I don't know how to face his family, and I also know his sister told him to make me behave. So I feel like I should apologize before things get worse, but I can't decide for sure if I'm in the wrong here. So I need your help. Am I the asshole?
Oh my gosh, OP. You need to get out of this situation. They sound awful. What do you mean, make her behave? Nate doesn't own you. What is that? You're not even being that crazy. You listen to loud music, and you are baking in the privacy of your own home, wearing a small amount of clothing. I don't know, that's... So many girls I knew in college just lounged around in gym shorts and a sports bra. It's not that much worse. I know they were lazy, but you were by yourself. You get to do what you want.
Top Comment agrees with you. NTA, you should never be embarrassed for dancing like an idiot to a song you like. Who cares that you were in underwear? No one was home at the time. Oh, and giving you the silent treatment is a huge red flag. It's emotional abuse.
Did we ever find out what Nate's surprise was? Because it sounds like it wasn't going to be an ass surprise. Like, what could it have been if his whole family showed up?
Right? The surprise is, my family's here now and you need to play hostess.
Right? Like, I can't think of what kind of good surprise it could possibly be. And just the fact that his mom and Nate insulted you a whole bunch. This sounds like a toxic relationship. I only know about this one incident, and this sounds like a toxic-ass relationship, OP.
Comments agree with you on that, too. Nate is just a bunch of red flags wearing a human skin suit, okay? Throughout your post, you talk about how pretty this makes you feel, how stupid happy you are while doing it, all while apparently feeling ashamed for how wrong and immature it is. He has made you feel as though something that makes you happy and is totally harmless is something to be ashamed of. A partner that insults you and makes you feel ashamed of yourself is not a partner.
Yeah, there were just a lot of red flags in that post, weren't there?
Yeah, and like she had to wait until he was gone for the weekend to do this, so it didn't upset him.
Yeah, apparently he's upset by the idea of cupcakes.
And what kind of monster is upset by cupcakes?
What kind of monster is upset by cupcakes in the idea of their significant other dancing around in lingerie?
Right? I feel like these are all like amazing things. I mean, you don't want your family to see that second part, but you should be enjoying that.
Right? And just don't surprise your partner with your family. Like, give them a little heads up.
NTA, Nate is a total asshole here. He tells you that you will have the apartment to yourself and then decides to surprise you with what exactly? A visit from his family? Wow, what a great surprise. He has no right to be upset at you, and you didn't know anyone was going to be home. He also has no right to insult you. Never in a relationship should your significant other insult you.
If you told me I had the house to myself all weekend, I think it is a very safe bet that I am going to be lounging either in my computer chair or on the couch, just dressed in my most comfortable clothing. And my most comfortable clothing, like, the shirt has a hole in it. Just because it's very old and very comfortable and I love it. But I am in no way presentable for guests.
Right? I'd be mad. I'd be like, dude, I'm not wearing a bra. Could you at least give me a warning so I could put on a bra before your family shows up? Because if I'm home by myself for the weekend, actually, if I'm home at all, I'm not wearing a bra.
Like, yeah, that is just very normal behavior. I just need the heads up, babe. I'll go and get presentable. I don't mind that your family's coming over.
She does have a little edit to add. Nate's family is also really conservative, and he was brought up like that as well. Someone mentioned I should have added this in. Also, I'm from the US, since a lot of people asked. And since his family is so conservative, that makes me think they were calling her not nice names. She's in lingerie, scandalous.
That is not a good excuse to call your son's girlfriend names or insult her. That's just being a bitch. I don't care what your belief system is. You're being a bad person here.
Okay, and then there is an update. After reading what everyone wrote, I quickly realized that what Nate did was so wrong. A lot of great moms in the comments also helped me understand the fact that even conservative moms, like Nate's, wouldn't react so rudely. It hit me like a wave when I realized what my life had come to. I didn't say anything to Nate about the post, but he must have figured out that I was upset at him. I was doubting our relationship and pulling away from him. He started talking to me again, and for a day I didn't really say anything. But I knew I had some decisions to make. I genuinely didn't believe I would get so many responses telling me I was NTA, so this was eye-opening for me.
I gotta add in, I feel like if I surprised you with my parents and I embarrassed you by doing this, my mom would be mad at me.
Yeah, I could see that.
She'd be like, Josh, why didn't you warn her? Have some common sense. I raised you to have common sense.
So a few days after I made the post, I told Nate that we needed to talk. I said that I would be staying with my friend until I felt comfortable around him. He didn't know what I was referring to, which just made me angry because how can he forget a fight that big? And I told him I was upset with how he treated me after the whole "your family walking in on me" incident. I also mentioned how I shouldn't have to wait for him to be away to dance, bake, or listen to One Direction just because he doesn't like it. He tried convincing me to stay, but I left. I think he knew I wouldn't let this go like all the other things, thanks to you guys. Yesterday, I asked him to meet me at a cafe so we could have a conversation about everything that happened. Nate cried. Like, for the first time ever since I have known him. He apologized, told me he messed up, and that he would change because he realized his mistakes now. I told him I wanted to move out, and maybe after a while, if he does actually change, I'd give us another chance. I just needed some space to think about things, and so I told him we should take a break from each other for a while. Nate told me that he would talk to his mom as well and that he should have defended me, to which I said, yes, you should have. I actually borrowed direct sentences to explain why he was in the wrong from some comments you guys left because it was so helpful. It went better than how I imagined it would go.
That's good. I'm glad there were some comments that could help OP, handle this situation.
Yeah, that's really nice. But I do feel like once OP gets away from this guy for a while and is living not with him, she's going to realize how much better her life is without him. I don't think she's going to end up back with him.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the separation gives her some time to, realize her self-worth and things improve from here.
Am I the asshole for dancing well at a wedding?
What does OP define as well?
Background, my sister and I have never gotten along. I don't know why. I wish I did so I could fix it. But so it goes. I've invited her to come country dancing with me every time I was home, but she never wanted to go. My date for the wedding was my swing dance partner. We tore up the floor all night long. Anytime a country song was on, we'd go dance whether the dance floor was empty or full.
Ah, OP is that swing dancing person that goes out on the floor and everyone's afraid of being kicked in the head.
We were having a blast, which was great because I really didn't want to be there since my sister put my ex of 7 years in the bridal party. The groom didn't really know him well at all, and turns out he doesn't even really like the groom. My dance partner asked my sister if she wanted to dance at least 3 times. She declined, and danced quite a few times with the maid of honor, who doesn't swing dance, but can sure follow a lead, and killed it.
I feel like there was a lot right there. Your ex is in the bridal party for some reason, and the only explanation OP has for it is spite?
It kind of sounds like, yeah, it might be just for spite, because her and her sister don't get along.
And the bride didn't want to dance with your partner, which, depending on the wedding, the bride and groom barely have time to dance. Sounds like she did have time to dance at this reception, but it depends on how well she knows your partner. I don't know, that one seems a little weird too.
Yeah, I think when I was a bride, I really only did the father-daughter dance, and then I danced with you the rest. Oh, I did dance with our nephews of some.
Yeah, but we kept having to run off the dance floor and talk to family members and stuff. It's a very busy time. I certainly don't have time to dance with too many people that I don't really know. I want to know how much the sister even knows your date.
A few members of my family have told me that my dancing at the wedding was inappropriate and I should have toned it down. They've even gone so far as to tell me that I hired a professional dancer to be my date. He isn't. I met him junior year of college when we started dancing weekly together at a bar. So my question is, am I the asshole for dancing like I know how to dance, or should I have dialed it back a bit for the wedding?
It does kind of sound like maybe OP was showing off. Possibly also out of spite. I get that you're good at dancing and you should be able to, dance at your skill level. Once the word swing dancing is thrown out there, I want to know how wild your swing dancing is.
Okay, OP does have an edit because apparently a lot of people in the comments wanted to know how wild was the swing dancing.
Okay, good, because swing dancing can get dangerous for pedestrians nearby.
Edit, just so it's not hidden in the comments because it's been the center of why most think I'm the asshole. We were doing aerials. Not every song, but they were there.
Then yeah, you're probably the asshole. You can't... Why are you getting thrown around at a wedding? Unless you have, like, a designated dance. Like, this is clear the dance floor. The sister of the bride is going to do a dance for everybody.
You cannot be doing aerials on a crowded dance floor. And if you're doing it on an empty dance floor, nobody's going to go out on the dance floor because they're going to be afraid of getting kicked in the head.
No, I sure wouldn't go out there. I am a big advocate of control yourself while you're dancing at the damn wedding. The dance floor is usually not that big.
I feel like when you are dancing at most weddings, you need to stay in your little 3 foot by 3 foot square so you don't bump into anybody else, and you need to not be too crazy with flailing of arms and legs.
Yeah, you kind of just gotta be aware of those around you and realize that this is a community event and other people want to use the dance floor too.
Other people who are not also swing dancers. Because I feel like if you're like with a bunch of people who really know how to swing dance, they can work around each other. But it's us people who can't actually dance and we're just swaying back and forth. Yeah, we're not going to know how to get out of your way and you're going to kick us.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just trying to escape an awkward conversation. I'm like, oh, I like this song. Excuse me, Aunt. I'll be right back. And I grab my wife and I escape to the dance floor. And I can't escape to the dance floor if you're being thrown through the air.
Top comment. You're the asshole. It's one thing to dance well at a wedding, as your title says, but completely out of bounds to do aerials, as seen in your comments on a dance floor. That's not welcoming dance behavior. It's intimidating. You may know what you're doing, but other people may be worried about being hit by a leg or a stray shoe. That's for professional dance events, not a wedding, unless you're specifically asked to do so. So have a little common sense. Oh wait, no, you were showing off at a wedding and making it about your great dance skills. I do feel like that's another good point. Like, you were purposefully showing off. You can't deny it. You were showing off your awesome dance skills. And a wedding is not the place to do that. Unless you are the bride and groom.
Absolutely. And you know what? Do you think that the bride was scared to dance with your partner because she thought he was going to throw her into the air and spin her around his waist?
Yeah, probably.
I'd be like, I can't do that in this dress, and I can't do that with this back.
You're the asshole. Think what it would look like if an NBA player showed up at a neighborhood pickup game and played like a championship was at stake. Would you be like, wow, he is having a great time and looks so cool? Or would you be thinking, wow, what a jerk. Did he really just slam the ball away from that 15-year-old? The aerials and whatnot, over the top and too show-offy for a wedding dance floor.
Yeah, it does just show a lack of spatial awareness to be doing swing dancing at a wedding. Is it mean of me to ask if the reason OP and her sister don't get along because OP is pulling behavior like making her sister's wedding about her?
I mean, neither of them sound great. And I think they're both at fault for the relationship. I mean, putting your sister's ex in the bridal party just because you know it would annoy your sister.
Honestly, though, given how obtuse OP is about etiquette when it comes to flailing on the dance floor, I'm wondering if she missed something with the reasoning of why her ex is in the party. Still, you generally pick your sibling in the breakup.
Another comment. Likely you're the asshole. Maybe no assholes. Weddings are meant to be danced at, but the bride and groom are also meant to be the center of attention. It sounds like you might have lacked a little self-awareness, but someone could have approached you during the evening if your behavior was an issue. Maybe your dress flew up and it was a bit risque. Either way, if I had a problem, especially if it was my sister, I would have sent my mom to ask you to tone it down. And if you didn't respect that, then you would definitely be the asshole. It also seems like you acted out of bitterness a bit. Your relationship with your sister or your dissatisfaction with the groomsmen have nothing to do with the dancing issue. It comes across that you wanted to show her up. OP replied, info to add, the groom came over to me during the wedding and said, looks like you're having fun. And I told him I was having a blast, and he said he was happy to hear it. The feedback from family was only given over a year after the wedding.
A year?
Yeah, that is a very long time to hold that in.
Yeah, I feel like after a year, I probably would have forgotten about it.
And then she continues, haha, I was most definitely wearing shorts under the dress. Good old Adidas. And then someone replied to that, oh my God, you needed to wear shorts? You were being that crazy?
That does imply that she expected to be
thrown into the air, legs up with maybe her dress riding up for everyone to see.
Right? Do they not make dressier shorts than Adidas? I don't know. I guess it depends on the tone of the wedding. I don't think they make lacy, fun shorts.
I believe those are called Spanx. The dancers wear them under, like, if they have a dress that is going to fly up when they twirl, they wear, like, Spanx, which is, like, basically it goes over your underwear and it's the same color as your dress, usually.
Right. Okay.
Spankies? What is it? I can't remember what it's called. My sister had to wear them in show choir.
I think they're called Spanx.
Is Spanx the shapewear and Spankies is the... I can't remember.
I'll admit, I don't know. But I just feel like there were other options than Adidas, but I don't know. I guess I'm not going to critique what you're wearing under your dress.
Well, other people are critiquing that she just needs to wear things under their dress. You're the asshole, dancing so wildly that you need shorts under your dress in case you flash the other guests and doing stunts, etc. is not appropriate at a wedding. Unless other people are doing it too and it's normal. There's dancing and there's giving a show, and you did the latter.
Yeah, and if the show wasn't requested, I have to assume that nobody wants the show at the wedding, other than OP. And maybe the reason everybody had to bring it up after a full year is that sister has been complaining about it for a year.
What you want to bet other people have been talking about it for the full year and it's just now getting back around to OP.
I don't think there's any chance that people were just quiet about it for a year and then suddenly started talking about it. I think that it absolutely has been a topic of conversation.
And one more comment. You're the asshole. From just reading through the comments, you lack total self-awareness and even speaking to people now. You were clearly showing off and loving the attention you were getting on your sister's special day. You and your sister never got on, and now it's clear why.
Yeah, minimum, we at least know half the reason now. I don't think OP is innocent in the reasoning for why they don't get along.
But Reddit overall thinks that she's definitely the asshole. Someone else's wedding is not the time to put on a performance.
Yeah, you don't need to be the center of attention at someone else's wedding.
Am I the asshole for calling my daughter's ballet lessons a waste of money and an argument?
Probably. If it's important to your daughter, then it's not a waste of money.
I, male 31, live with my wife, female 30. We have 2 kids, female 6 and female 2. We've recently had a bit of financial difficulties as our rent got increased and my job has been cutting my hours. We aren't struggling to survive, but we need to count our coins before buying any luxuries. I managed to get a second job to make up for the cut hours, but we still need to be very mindful about where our money goes, and I've had a few discussions with my wife about it. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. Our eldest goes to school from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. My job covers childcare for our youngest, and she goes to daycare from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. 3 days a week. I take the kids to school and daycare, and my wife picks them up. I noticed some transactions from our shared bank account that were unusual and asked my wife about it. She explained that she's been taking our youngest to ballet lessons in the afternoons, after daycare once a week, and each lesson is 30 pounds.
The 2-year-old?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what age is appropriate to start ballet. I feel like 2 might be a little early.
I got annoyed because my wife didn't discuss this with me, and 30 pounds a week is quite a bit of money. I asked her to stop taking her to the lessons because we can't afford them, but suggested she can look for cheaper activities, preferably something both of our children could enjoy. My wife protested and said that our youngest really enjoys the ballet. She called me an asshole and said that I'm depriving my daughter of something that could help her future, and that we can find a way to afford them.
I mean, I do feel like wife probably should have talked about this expense with you beforehand instead of just doing it behind your back. That's just good partnership behavior.
I called the lessons a waste of money and told my wife that we are partners and she shouldn't spend large amounts without discussing it, especially when we don't have a lot as is. My wife started crying and said that something that makes our child happy isn't a waste of money. She went into our room and slammed the door, and that was the end of that conversation. Since then, my wife hasn't really been speaking to me, and I wonder if I was the asshole here.
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards everyone sucks here. Wife probably should have talked to you before an expense that is, it sounds like significant towards your budget. And you probably shouldn't have called it a waste of money and, turned it into a whole fight. It sounds like your daughter does like it. It's probably just like a socialization opportunity for her.
I am going the opposite direction of you. I think the wife is the asshole.
I mean, that's not fully the opposite direction. I said everyone sucks.
Okay, yeah. But I think the husband has some very good points, and I have some more points to make. 2 years old, she's not going to remember this. She's not doing ballet, I can guarantee you. She's dancing, maybe, but she's not really following instruction.
That's why I thought it was probably just about socialization. Like, if you took your 2-year-old to gymnastics, that might even still be a little young for the gymnastics class. That was kind of the first socialization activity in my area, is everyone would go to like a gymnastics course.
Okay, my first like socialization activities were like free things. And my first paid one was dance classes when I was in kindergarten, and I still think I was too young for them.
Yeah, I am fully in agreement. There's probably not a lot of point to taking them to dance lessons when you could take them to like a library activity and they could interact with other kids just as easily. But I think the big point is that she just didn't talk with dad about it beforehand.
And I feel like 30 pounds a week for something that your daughter enjoys it, but she's not really getting anything out of it that she couldn't get at a free activity somewhere else. I feel like that is way too much money, especially when you're already tight on money. 120 pounds a month just for your daughter to do this 4 times.
Is it $30 a session?
Yes.
That does add up, doesn't it?
I feel like this is like way too much money to be spending on something like this, and way too much money to be spending unilaterally without discussing it with your partner first. There were so many free options you could do instead.
Presumably.
I mean, my daughter loves dance. I want to take her to dance class because she enjoys it. Yeah, you know what else she enjoys? Going to the park and playing in the mud. That's free. She's 2.
Yeah, I have to assume there are other options. I'm not sure I agree with OP saying that it needs to be something that both daughters do together. They don't need to be attached.
No, they don't. Because also one is in like real school and one is only in daycare 3 days a week. So yeah, you need something to do with the younger one while the other one is in school.
At that age, daycare is a socialization activity. So she does have something that she's doing that's for socialization.
OP did want to edit to add, because everybody keeps bringing it up. The childcare for the 2-year-old is covered as a benefit from his job, so they're not paying for it. Because people are like, why do you have a stay-at-home mom, and still send the kid to daycare? It's free. If it's free daycare, I'm sending my kid to daycare so that I can get some stuff done around the house.
Yeah, I mean, if they're offering it for free, absolutely take them up on that. I wasn't going to bring up the fact that they were sending the kid to daycare because I'm like, well, there could be a lot of reasons that are legitimate, and it sounds like you don't have a problem with that, OP.
Let's jump into comments. Top comment, OP, you are NTA. To be honest, as a working mom here, I don't get why your youngest is in childcare if she's a stay-at-home mom. She can get a job and then pay for the ballet herself. Problem solved. Edit to add, in this day and age, with the rising cost of living, being a stay-at-home mom is a luxury. And to have 3 days of childcare as well that she's not even using by going to work, just sitting around and using electricity, my blood would be boiling. Ballet lessons and other extracurriculars are lovely, but you are a partnership and she is definitely not pulling her weight here.
Sounds like that commenter has some opinions about stay-at-home moms.
Yeah, and it does sound like that. I mean, they are struggling a little bit financially, so I do feel like maybe it should have been discussed if, mom could pick up some part-time work. And especially if she just wants to go spending this money on whatever she decides is important, maybe she should have her own money to do that with.
Yeah, if your budget is tight, you really can't be taking on unilateral decisions like that. But also, if you have to make cuts, I would prioritize taking cuts out of, mom and dad's budget, not the kid's budget, when you can.
NTA, 120 pounds a month for just 4 lessons is a lot of money when you're struggling. She definitely should have discussed it with you and could have found an alternative altogether. There's plenty of other things your children can do that make them happy, which aren't expensive. Find an alternative and speak to her about it. Your child's only 2. She'll forget about it in a few months.
Yeah, I think the only reason I really said everyone sucks here is that I feel like OP might have came into that argument a little angry. And like, I get it, you're stressed about money, so you are going to have high emotions when it comes to money issues. But I don't know, she didn't talk to you, and it sounds like you went straight to anger, so maybe you both just need to take a breath.
I'm just trying to grasp what a ballet lesson for a 2-year-old even looks like. NTA.
I think it's gotta be mostly like stretching, right?
Probably point your toe and tap it. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, spin in a circle.
Yeah.
And like half the kids are not following the directions.
Well, it's gotta be like instilling like the basic concept of like doing things to a rhythm and stuff. It probably is not anything complicated.
Someone replied, it involves running around in circles and waving ribbons. Have you ever seen a toddler soccer game? It's as chaotic as that.
Yeah, that's about what I'm imagining. Wandering in circles while holding a ribbon. One girl is absolutely in the corner just spinning in circles.
NTA, when money is tight, things have to be given up, and ballet lessons for a 2-year-old falls into that category. Your wife was also wrong to unilaterally decide to sign your child up for the lessons in the first place. She put your child in the position of being unnecessarily disappointed when a conversation on the subject beforehand, along with a discussion on other possible options, could have avoided the mess entirely. Your wife feels so strongly about the lessons, perhaps she could take a part-time or online position to cover the additional expenses of the classes. That seems like a fair compromise if she truly finds the lessons necessary, even with your current financial situation. Yeah, Reddit is all pretty unilaterally NTA on this. They think that spending that much money on ballet classes for a 2-year-old when money is so tight is kind of ridiculous.
I mean, I can see where they're coming from. It is important for your kid to have activities, even at 2, when they're not going to be very good at the activity, I feel. But maybe there are free options. Maybe there are less expensive options. And wife definitely should have talked to you beforehand.
During our date night, I saw my wife dancing with another man, and I got mad. Am I the asshole?
Well, gosh, I guess that depends on a lot of factors, because I am also the jealous type. But did she have a good reason to be dancing with that other guy?
My wife and I went salsa dancing for date night the other night, something we rarely get to do since having our first baby 18 months ago. With no family nearby to help with childcare and babysitters being expensive, it was only our second time going out alone since our child was born. We were having a great time, but at one point I went to the washroom. I was gone for no more than 5 minutes, and when I came back, I saw her on the dance floor dancing with another man. I felt it was really disrespectful and got upset. I stood there watching, and when she saw me, I threw my hands up like, "What the hell?" And she just smiled and kept dancing with him.
Does wife know that OP is the jealous type and kind of likes it?
So I walked over, tapped the guy on the shoulder, and he immediately stopped and apologized. After he left, my wife got really mad, calling me controlling, and spent the rest of the evening sitting at the bar sulking.
Okay, so wife doesn't like it.
I told her I thought it was disrespectful to dance with someone else while on a date with me, but she wasn't having it. Am I the asshole?
I don't know. It sounds like maybe you're being a little overly territorial. If she was just having fun. But I don't know salsa etiquette. Like, are you supposed to dance with other people when you're out on a salsa date?
I don't know either, but top comment. My wife is a dancer. Her response, if it was a class, partners get swapped around to help those struggling or without partners. On a date, then no, I'd decline. She's also declined in a lesson saying she had a partner. So it sounds like from someone who is a dancer, no, you don't go swapsing when you're on a date with someone.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, I assumed it wasn't a class because it was date night. I don't know. I guess you could do a date night at a class. I just assumed they were at like a bar or something. Personally, I'm going off of like club etiquette, and I would be a little jealous. I'd be a lot jealous if I went to the bathroom and my date went off and was dancing with some other single guy. Especially if we're married. Sorry, am I too much of the jealous type?
No, I don't want you dancing with other women while I'm in the bathroom either.
I'm trying to think of how I would handle the situation, because OP's method was to go to the edge of the dance floor and be like,
what are you doing?
Like, I feel like I would have maybe handled it a little more subtly than just waving my arms around angrily and then going and tapping the other guy. I might have let you finish the dance and then being like, you ditched me. Maybe you had a good reason.
Someone else in the comments makes some good points, though. The fact that OP was upset that his wife was dancing with another dude says two things. One, they were not switching partners and dancing with other people between the time they started dancing and the time OP took a bathroom break. Which means it was understood up to that point that the expectation was for them to dance only with each other. Two, no other man apparently tried to dance with her prior to OP going to the bathroom. And if they did, it was understood that it wasn't happening. So either the wife or the man who was dancing with her knew to wait until the husband left to try to sneak one in.
I mean, that is a really good point. The fact that OP is upset about it makes it pretty evident that this isn't a class, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, especially because this is your first, date in a while. It does seem weird that your wife wouldn't wait for you to get out of the bathroom. Maybe OP is just a slow pooper.
He said it was only 5 minutes.
That's what all slow poopers say.
In man time, that could be 20 minutes, right?
Maybe she got really bored 30 minutes after you were in there.
Okay, OP does have some edits that are like little updates. Edit 1. Many are saying this is normal for salsa dancing, especially in social halls. In this case, this was not a social dance hall. People dancing with their partners were not frequently switching partners. It was more of a club setting. So she would have been spotted by herself and approached by a man to dance with her. She did not have to accept the dance, in my opinion. She thinks it was harmless.
I will add in, despite me saying, she probably should have waited for OP to get back and not danced with this other guy. There is there's a ceiling of anger OP is allowed to have about this. You don't just have unlimited license to be yelling at your wife over what essentially isn't a huge deal. The dance could have been very innocent.
But I do feel like the wife's reaction was also not great. When he called her out on it, was like, what the heck? You ditched me and were dancing with someone else. She got mad and went and sulked for the rest of the night and wouldn't dance with him anymore.
That is also a good point. Sounds like they both are rather hot-tempered.
That's why they like salsa dancing. It's spicy.
It is the dance of passion.
Edit 2. I talked to my wife. She has doubled down and said I completely overreacted and needlessly ruined our night. She admitted that the guy dancing with her told her she was beautiful and flirted with her and that she was flattered. When I asked if she told him she was married, she said she didn't because she didn't have time to. I had returned from the washroom by then. I'm very upset by this and I don't know where to go from here.
So he was absolutely trying to pick her up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there was much doubt that he wasn't trying to pick her up.
But I feel like if someone was trying to pick you up and you didn't immediately say, oh, I'm married, I would be upset.
Yeah, especially because this is like a club setting. Obviously, he's hitting on you. That's the only reason to go to an event like this in a club setting is you're either there with someone or you're trying to pick someone up. And in settings like that, you gotta firmly shoot the guy down because they will sometimes just not take no for an answer.
Edit 3. My wife and I chatted again about this tonight. As many of you have suggested, I asked my wife how she would feel if she came back from the bathroom and found me dancing with another woman. Someone I likely asked to dance, since it's less common for women to approach men. She admitted she would feel jealous and wouldn't want me to do that. When I pointed out the hypocrisy, she argued that it's different because, in her view, accepting a dance is not the same as a man actively seeking a woman to dance with.
I mean, I do agree on that last point. Accepting a dance is far more innocent than going and seeking out a new dance partner.
I disagreed, saying that if it's acceptable for her, it should be the same for me. She responded that if I ever did that, it would lead to a major fight and she'd accuse me of cheating. Her reasoning is that, as a man, I would have pursued the woman, whereas a woman, she is simply accepting an offer and can control the meaning behind it. I think it's BS.
I feel like OP should have just said, what if a woman approached me and asked for a dance? It's 2026. Women can walk up and ask if you want to dance. I don't like his example.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel like I do feel like pursuing someone and asking them to dance is slightly worse than just accepting a dance. But both of them are not good when you have gone somewhere with like the understanding kind of that you will exclusively be dancing with each other because you're married.
Yeah, you have to sit out like one song while your partner's in the bathroom.
It's okay to take a breather.
Yeah, just take a breather, get a drink. You don't have to go out to the floor again with somebody else.
I'm on hubby's side. He even said they rarely go dancing. She sulked after her hubby cut back in. She liked dancing with the other guy and didn't want it to stop. Another comment, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It matters that you are upset and she is not hearing you. That's a problem. Even if I didn't think it was a big deal to switch partners whilst my guy was in the toilet, if he was upset by it, I would immediately apologize because him feeling heard by me is more important than whether I think my behavior is acceptable. I wish people could understand that relationships only last if you treat the feeling, not the catalyst for it. You can spend forever arguing the specifics, but I bet if I pulled her aside and asked her, outside of this argument, do you care if you upset your partner? The answer will be yes. Every time. Try and find a way to get her to focus on your emotion long enough for her to separate it from her feelings about her behavior.
That is a very good and insightful comment. Because, yeah, they're right. This is not about OP or her winning an argument about whether or not what she did was correct. This is about OP, being vulnerable enough to say, hey, my feelings were hurt. And her correct response probably should have been like, hey, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings.
I didn't realize this was something that would bother you. I won't do it again. Right?
That is
How easy is that?
That is the mature way to handle it. Sometimes Reddit just nails their comments.
What she did is disrespectful and childish. Her crying and accusing you of being controlling is because she knows what she did was wrong, and instead of saying sorry, she's making it your fault.
That's more of the comment I'm expecting from Reddit. Just stoke that fire in their marriage. Let it all burn.
Okay, but overall, Reddit says not the asshole on this one.
All right, that's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.